Ugh, I had a popcorn kernel in my throat. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to one of the channels on the internet, and today, I thought it would be probably a great time to come out of my almost 7-month retirement to bring you folks another video. And today's topic is the amazing digital circus, a show I haven't covered whatsoever on this channel, and I think it would be a great time to hop in at episode 5. And with it just releasing 3 days ago, I say the topic is fresh enough to discuss. Unlike my Death of Slim Shady video that no one will see because it's almost been a year since release and no one cares about it anymore. But without further ado, let's get into it. Did I say further? I meant further. To start, I assume most of you watching the video have seen most, if not all, the episodes of Digital Circus, so I won't waste anyone's time explaining the plot. What I am here to do is discuss the relationship between Ragatha, Jax, and Pomni, and in turn, discussing Jax's relationship with the entire cast of Digital Circus. It goes without saying that Jax is an asshole. He tortures the rest of the cast for his own entertainment, and shows no remorse when they rightfully get upset with him. It's clear his way of coping with everything is just to believe nothing matters, and because of that, he doesn't need to change or grow, and he can treat everyone around him how he wants. Little side tangent. Excuse me. Little side tangent. I do not believe Jax is an AI like a lot of people do. Some people like to point to his license plate in episode 4 as evidence, and now with the fact Kane could force him to be a vegan, despite being unable to force the humans to do anything against their will, it seems like it's cut and dry that he's likely an AI, but there's a few reasons why I believe he's not. 1, the stupid sauce in episode 4 directly affecting Ragatha's mind. Kane created a substance that could directly change or alter one of the cast's minds that wasn't Jax. So unless Ragatha is also an AI, I highly doubt that Kane is just unable to control the cast, which has some implications that... You know, we're not going to get into that right now. Also, Kane is very particular with how he runs the AI and how many people are there. It is unlikely he'd create Jax and then just not realize that it's not the same AI he created. But with that small tangent out of the way, I want to get back to the main point. Jax's coping mechanism is apathy. Completely cutting out how others feel about him and pushing any form of connection away. We know he had a friend before Pomni came, and the name of that character was Ribbit, this name being revealed in the Q&A with Gooseworks when she was asked who abstracted before Kaufmo. Ragatha brings it up when Pomni inquires Jax if he has any friends, with Ragatha profusely apologizing to Jax after mentioning it. This being one of the only things that actually causes Jax to show any form of emotion is so very interesting because, to me, it kind of implies it was his fault, but this is such a delicate topic that when Ragatha lashes out at Jax later, the only thing she apologizes for is mentioning Ribbit. Speaking of Ragatha, throughout the series, we have been shown Ragatha's toxic positivity and how she bottles up all negative emotions and forces herself to see the bright side of things, which pisses Jax off more than anything, because it is quite literally the antithesis to how Jax acts. He feels shitty, so he acts shitty, and the dynamic between the two's view on how they should deal with their emotions is directly conflicting with one another. And we see in episode 4 Ragatha's conflicting feelings on Jax.
I, hate you, but I don't want you to hate me. Is that weird?
You're drunk or something.
Honestly, the way Jax and Ragatha handle their emotions is not too much different than how Gangle masks, quite literally. Which is kind of why I think Jax messes with Gangle more than anyone. I think he believes she genuinely can't be happy, and that there is no point in her trying to change. Because she can't, and he wants her to be like him. But now that she is genuinely changing and befriending Zubul, excuse me, I just had popcorn and ice cream. I know, I'm an absolute big back. But now, he can't make anyone like himself, and that isolates him more and more from the group. That is, until he realizes that he can mold Pomni to be like him. A lot of people read the bar scene and the final scene between Jax and Pomni to be Jax genuinely wanting Pomni to be his friend, when I cannot disagree more. It's clear in the bar scene when he goes,
Wow, the first steps of a budding friendship, right, Ragatha?
but on top of that, if he can't make Gangle like himself, then the next best thing is absolutely Pomni, who is already warming up to some of Jax's antics. For example, at the beginning of the episode when voting to make Jax a vegan, Pomni and everyone else unanimously votes yes. However, at the end of the episode when voting to put Jax in a maid outfit, she is the only person other than Jax himself to vote no. On top of that, once he is finally free from his vegan chains, he immediately goes and attacks Evil Jax, which Pomni laughs at before noticing Ragatha and hiding it. And I have trouble reading this interaction because on one hand, Ragatha might be concerned that Pomni is becoming cruel like Jax, but then on the other hand, she could simply be upset that Jax and Pomni are getting along. And we see at the end of the episode that without Pomni, Ragatha is kinda on her own. You see, the only way her coping mechanism works is if her positivity is spread amongst everyone. But when she's isolated, she has no one to be positive to. Like, everyone likes her, but nobody seems to be her friend. So without anyone, she's just left alone to her thoughts. And the only thing I can imagine happening is Jax getting Pomni to get closer to him, only for Ragatha to become more and more isolated and be the first to abstract. Ragatha, out of everyone here, is the only one who isn't really developing. Zubul and Gangle are, I was about to say Goongle, Zubul and Gangle are getting closer. Kinger had a deep understanding with Pomni, and honestly, he seems to be in a perpetual state of not knowing what's going on. And honestly, I don't think he's capable of abstracting because he literally just doesn't understand. But with everyone breaking out of their shell, other than Jax and Ragatha, Jax hides his feelings with apathy and seems rather content with that, while Ragatha is on the verge of losing it all the time. Anytime she has to go into detail on how she's feeling, she spirals, and it seems like she is just a ticking time bomb ready to lose it at any moment. But that's all I really have right now. If you'd like me to cover episode 6 when it releases, then please support this video, and I'll try really, really hard not to disappear again. Anyways, I'm Jempty, and this was my show. Toodles!